So I'm just going to use a flat screwdriver and turn it. Looks like it might be working like that. Just insert it and turn it. Okay. And we come to the centerpiece up, and there it is. The broken grill is finally out. So let's clean this with a little bit of glass cleaner. Okay. After this, I'm gonna spray some trim shine. This trim shine is just a protectant for interior pieces, and the spray lays a thin film of silicone. In this case, I'm gonna help the replacement parts, the replacement part and the reinforcement and everything else have an easier time click back in place. So I'm just gonna use it as a lubricant basically. There's too many things which are sandwiched on top of each other, so I just want to make sure it goes in nice and easy. So here we go. This is the replacement grill. I'm just gonna lay it the way it's supposed to go. Just lay it in place. So it looks like it's lined up. Therefore the bumper is ready. So now on to removing the headlights. So the headlights are going to have 3 bolts. One of them is going to be the one over here. One of them is going to be underneath and reverse of this. So it's threaded in here. We're going to reach underneath and bolt it out. And the third one should be this one here. This one here. So we're going to remove these 3 and then look for the connection for the washer fluid. The one underneath is much shorter than the other 2. So there are 2 parts to removing the headlight. One of them is the connector. The connector has a clamp, which is a push-down clamp. So it is underneath, so you gotta squeeze it, and then it just pulls out. And down there is the water connection to the washers, and it's got a clip on it. I'm gonna have to remove that clip, and once the clip is off, I can remove the hose, and then the headlights can come out. The headlight can come out. At this point, both headlights have been removed. I'm gonna remove the metal clips that attach the lens to the body. I've popped 2 of them out, and there are several more that need to be removed. One at this corner, and one above. For removing the headlight washer, which has a T20 Torx screw. The pump has a guiding pin at the bottom, which goes in the slider. It has another pin on the side, which goes in this ear over here, and it's got a click here, clicking pin, which goes inside the bracket where the screw is. So I have been able to replace the lens already on one of the headlights, and I've done this without using the oven. So I only use the heat gun, which I have here. I think that using the heat gun could possibly be safer for the headlight, for the mechanism and all the electronics and everything else. Only the area where the lens is installed to the housing gets heated up. So at this point, I'm going to show on the other headlight how this is done. So we're going to start by removing the what I call the pump. It is not the pump, it is the sprinkler, but a sprinkler has a hydraulic function of extending under under cleaning water pressure, and I kind of simplified it and called it the pump. Next, we're going to remove the shroud for molding. There it is. Next, we're going to remove the 4 clamps. There's 2 at the bottom and 2 at the top. Next, we're going to start heating up with the heat gun. So, about the heat gun, I'm using the lower setting as far as the temperature and I guess the speed of the fan of the heat gun. And on the box it says that that can equate to 500 degrees. So we're going to keep it at the distance. We're going to keep going. We're going to see the existing butyl starting to shine in the groove. We're going to slightly pry it with one of the tools that I have, the plastic tools, and with a screwdriver. And when it starts to move a little bit, we'll move to the other side, and then we'll just go around until it just comes off. Try it a little bit so we can move to the other side. Okay. Okay, I think it's ready to come out. And here it is. Next thing that we're going to do is to separate the bulbs from the position lights so that the lens can come off. At this point, we're going to start working on the new lens. We're going to disassemble the items which are not needed from the old lens and transfer them to the new lens. So at one point I was curious to see what is inside the reflector of the parking light, but I decided not to get involved with that work as far as converting that to an LED strip. So it's just going to be a straightforward transfer to the other lens. Alright, so we have 2 big bolts here that kind of have a hard time going in the other lens, and we have some small bolts. So this shroud is going to come out first, and then the parking light unit is going to come out after that. The fit and finish with this unit, with this lens, is very good. The holes for the screws match up. So with these big ones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them forward and back them out, move them forward, back them out, because the material is brittle and it's got a hard time going in. So I'm trying to avoid problems. Alright, we're ready to install this. So now what we're gonna have to do here with the housing is we're gonna heat it up, okay? We're gonna heat the groove up until all of this existing butyl doesn't necessarily melt, but becomes really soft. At that point, we're gonna bring the additional butyl in, and I'll show you how to lay it in, and then we're gonna heat it up again. And once it is really soft, we're gonna bring the housing and just press it in. All right, let's test it a little bit. Yeah, it's soft. It's going good. So I'm just gonna push it into the groove, push the butyl back into the groove, like this. And then stretch it a little bit along. All right, let's heat it again some more. Now we're gonna bring in the additional butyl. The additional butyl comes like this, in the form of a tape. And what I noticed is it stretches, and it can stretch to like a diameter, whatever diameter you want it to be, real easy, at room temperature. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stretch it, I'm gonna pre-stretch it. You know, it's gonna not be very exact, but it's gonna be kind of okay. And what I wanna do is fill that groove kind of halfway up, maybe a little more than halfway up. So I'm gonna make myself a bead of this that kind of fills the groove like that. And I'm just gonna lay it into the groove. And then afterwards, I'm gonna heat it up some more so that this can mix with the rest of the butyl, and then I'll be ready to install the housing. I'm just gonna start here. So we're ready to heat up some more, and then I'm gonna kind of poke the mixture with a screwdriver and assess to see how soft it is. Two things are gonna happen. First of all, the new butyl is gonna start shining. That's when it gets warmed up. The second thing is that sheen is gonna go away, and some sort of more rough look is gonna replace it. That rough look means that the surface of the butyl is getting kind of really heated up. That kind of tells me that it's gonna be ready. Okay, we're ready for the lens. We're gonna take the lens and we're gonna push it in without any delay, as it's hot. So let's make sure we don't catch any of the vinyl in there. And let's go. Come on. Okay. Slide in. Now the lens is cold, so we wanna quickly move with this. I think it went in well. So now what we're gonna do is put the 4 clamps back on. I'm gonna take an extra step here, and I'm gonna add additional butyl into the outside of the groove. Okay, we're ready to put a shroud back on. Actually, we're gonna put the bulbs in and the covers first. Okay. This headlight is ready to be installed. We begin with the reinstallation of the headlights. We'll plug in the water connection and the electrical connection first. bumper is basically back on. I'm sorry I couldn't capture the moment it went on. There was a little bit of pulling it in both directions, and then I finally got it to fit. At this point, the screws are going back in the same way they came out, but in reverse order. And here it is. There was a part where see, the headlights are held together by 3 bolts. 2 of them have play in them. The reason for which they have play, meaning this bolt here, inside here, and the bolt in here, the reason for which they have play is so that the gap of the headlight as compared to the body panels can be adjusted to be uniform. So I figured that out towards the end, so I had to loosen up the shroud more and to get the gap to be uniform. Other than that, she's back bolted together and ready to go.